Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining on time. And sorry about the slight delay in starting. As usual, we had a few technical difficulties to get through. So good evening to everyone who joined us from Colombo and from other parts of the world, and hello to everyone on Facebook as well. First of all, happy International Youth Day to everybody, and welcome to our independent dialogue on youth engagement, climate action, and resilient food systems. We're really excited for this dialogue, and the lineup that we've organized today is is much anticipated, and we hope you enjoy and benefit from this dialogue as much as we do. Before we proceed, we do have some house rules. We have a registration form that we have set out for the day, and I'll drop the link shortly on the chat. It would be really great if you could fill that out, so we get an idea of who's here in the room with us. Furthermore, please do keep yourselves unmuted at all times unless you're speaking. You could keep your video on, so as long as it doesn't disturb your connection. And also, we want to try and keep our discussion as engaging as possible, which is why we organize this in the form of meetings and not webinars. So please do contribute in the chat. We do have time for Q&A, so we could also engage there, but please do share any comments and feedback that you have on the chat. And finally, we have a session. We have two group work sessions, one group work session with two groups. One group would be on youth in policy and decision-making processes, and one on youth in innovative action. So in case you are keen on joining either of these groups, please do maybe type policy next to your name. So you could rename yourselves and have policy in brackets or innovation in brackets. Or if you could just state which group you'd want to be a part of in the chat, and we will make note of it, and the team will put you into the respective groups during the breakout sessions. We'll remind you of this throughout the session as well. But until that, we look forward to having you all, as well as your active participation, and look forward to hearing what our speakers have to say. With that, I would like to give the screen to my Executive Director, Vasudha Vijay, who would for her opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Finasha, and sorry about that technical difficulty. A warm welcome to all of you who are joining us today. It's great to see people from different regions joining us. Thank you for that. And I would also like to highlight why it's important for SLICE and Trust to engage in International Youth Day, because SLICE and Trust has a core focus on work that we do with youth and on youth, which relates to climate action, food systems, as well as other conservation efforts that we are making. And we also focus on inclusive and participatory processes, decision-making processes, and youth play a key role in it. So we are looking at how youth can be more engaged, could contribute effectively to these processes, and how we can help in achieving this. So I'm very grateful to all who are joining us today, especially to the speakers who are with us today, taking the time to engage with us and share their expertise. Beyond what we do, this will come up in the presentations from others, and also in the discussion time. We will provide some examples of the work we are doing, but I wanted to highlight two things that I think would be of interest to those who are joining us. One is the Global Youth Forum that SLICE and Trust is organizing with different actors, stakeholders. We will be having a launch for the second one very soon. And COVID has restricted us in some of the activities we wanted to do, but that has also helped us to engage virtually with a lot of countries and participants. So in 2020, this was very successful in the sense that we managed to get over 70 countries to engage with us in actions. And now there'll be implementation phases of this, the projects that people have developed during the Global Youth Forum, and how different actors, mentors could connect with these processes. So we have certain mentors who volunteer to be part of these activities, as well as organizations. And we are trying to identify other organizations and individuals, experts, to work with youth in implementing these activities. Also, that we are working in different regions, so in Asia and Africa, and as well as international level. So one of the key things that we do is strategy development rather, for youth engagement. So one, we work in Ghana with our partner organizations. We are focusing on how food systems could be a focus in the work that we're doing with partners in Niger, And then we also have in South Asia different partners we work with. And we're looking at how this youth climate strategy that we're developing as a global one as well as a national one could contribute to engaging more actors and civil society organizations as well as policymakers to ensure that youth are part of all the processes that are development related as well as climate related. And also food systems is definitely something we focus on. And we will have a launch, which is national level actually, on how youth could be a focus area in the food systems summit dialogues. So we'll be launching that also. There'll be more information coming up from the other speakers. So if you're interested in joining these activities, if you would like support, there will be pro bono support provided through technical expertise. And we'll also like to work with you on how we can help better scale up your activities that are already ongoing on these topics. So I'll stop at that and I'll pass the mic again to Sanashia. Hope I didn't take too much time. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Bosita, and welcome again to those who just joined us. Just a very quick reminder, we have a registration form for the day. I'll drop the link in the chat. With that, I would like to move on to our next speaker, Ms. Fleur Newman. Fleur has been very kind to give us her time today. She's always been a part of a lot of our sessions, being ever so generous with her knowledge and expertise. Fleur is the unit lead for Action for Climate Empowerment, Gender and Youth at the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or UNFCCC. And with that, I'd like to let Fleur take over the screen. Fleur, over to you.
Thank you very much, Sanashia. It's a pleasure to be joining you again and on this important day in which we aim to highlight the imperative of ensuring that the ideas, perspectives and demands of young people from all parts of society and from every part of the globe about their future in a world affected by climate change are heard and acted upon. In case it was not already clear, the report of the Working Group 1's contribution to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change 6th Assessment Report, which was released on Monday, confirms that it is indisputable that human influence has warmed the climate system, raising global surface temperature. It also makes clear that there is no going back from some changes that are already affecting the climate system. For example, extreme heat thresholds relevant to agriculture and health are projected to be exceeded more frequently at higher global warming levels. And only the rapid, sustained, and large-scale reductions of climate change causing greenhouse gas emissions can keep within reach the goal of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius compared to pre-industrial levels, as set out in the Paris Agreement. The climate emergency is undoubtedly a complex challenge, and as such, it cannot be solved by governments alone. For such a challenge, we need everyone to be equipped and empowered to get involved, support government climate action, and drive greater ambition. The Convention and Paris Agreement provides the tools for a whole of society approach to addressing the climate emergency. Known as Action for Climate Empowerment, or ACE, it has 6 interconnected elements: climate education and training, as well as public awareness, public access to information, public participation, and international cooperation on all these matters. Climate literacy is the cornerstone for implementing ambitious climate policy and action by ensuring broad understanding of the issue and catalysing innovation in climate mitigation and adaptive capacity. And ACE strives to ensure lifelong climate literacy for everyone, with a particular focus on inclusion and on children and youth. ACE is an important part of achieving a healthy, safe and just future because it provides the framework to educate, empower and equip everyone to understand that addressing climate change can also help us address some of humanity's other big challenges. It is tied to poverty, equality, to clean air, to biodiversity, food security, to everything. The elements of ACE are also the foundation of the just transitions that are required to move us to low carbon, climate resilient economies and societies. We need curious, clever minds turning to decarbonising public and private transport while making it more equitable, rethinking urban and built environments, strengthening the resilience of our health systems, redirecting capital, and relevant for today's discussion, redesigning our broken food systems. Today's topic of transforming food systems, youth innovation for human and planetary health, acknowledges the need for support mechanisms that enable youth to transform unsustainable food production, which is impacting both human and planetary well-being. With the number of young people aged 15 to 24 projected to have grown by 7% to nearly 1.3 billion by 2030, there is a need to provide young people with the knowledge and opportunities they need to be a positive force for development. In an earlier report by the IPCC on climate change and land, the IPCC noted that land is both a source and a sink of greenhouse gas emissions and plays a key role in the exchange of energy, water, and aerosols between the land surface and atmosphere. And that land ecosystems and biodiversity are vulnerable to ongoing climate change and weather and climate extremes. As such, sustainable land management can contribute to reducing the negative impacts of multiple stresses, and that includes climate change, on ecosystems and societies. In fact, food systems currently account for almost 30% of global greenhouse gas emissions, with agriculture responsible for 80% of deforestation around the world. Implementing sustainable agriculture practices to achieve food security in the context of climate change is a major topic in the UN climate change process. Since 2018, countries, experts, and interested stakeholders have come together in the context of the Coronivia Work Programme to discuss opportunities in 6 agreed technical agricultural areas, ranging from the role of soils and nutrients to more effective livestock management and assessing action to adapt to the impacts of climate change. At the most recent workshop, held virtually during the May-June sessional period at the UNFCCC, actions for integrated watershed management were identified that consider not only scientific knowledge, but also traditional and Indigenous knowledge and ways to improve and protect the livelihoods of farmers, local communities, youth and Indigenous peoples, while ensuring gender equality. And countries are increasingly recognising the importance of action on agriculture. The vast majority of countries have identified agriculture as a priority sector in their national climate plans under the Paris Agreement, also known as NDCs, highlighting the need to invest in adapting and transforming agricultural sectors. The NDC Global Outlook report from 2019 observed that agriculture is one of the greatest concerns in terms of vulnerability in looking at NDCs. So this gives us a sense of where an initiative such as this dialogue and the youth strategy that will be developed can contribute to UNFCCC processes. Things like engaging through the Coronivia Work Programme at the international level and through the planning for nationally determined contributions, or NDCs, and national adaptation planning processes at the national level. There's also an agriculture working group of Youngo, the official children and youth constituency of the UNFCCC. Members of the working group are participating in the UN Food Systems Summit taking place in September. And this topic is sure to be discussed as part of the Conference of Youth, organised annually by this constituency known as Youngo, to promote capacity building and policy training for young climate leaders from across the globe. This year's Conference of Youth, COI 16, because it's the 16th Conference of Youth, will be held just before COP26 and will culminate in a policy document that will be shared during the COP. But innovating to maintain momentum on climate change in the lead up to this year's Conference of Youth, they're also holding the first ever virtual COI, as well as local COIs in different countries, to create spaces that are open and accessible to young people from all around the world especially from vulnerable, marginalised and Indigenous communities. In addition to Youth COI at pre-COP26 in Milan at the end of September, the government of Italy will convene the Youth for Climate Driving Ambition Summit. The event will offer nearly 400 young people from all over the world the opportunity to develop proposals that will be discussed with government representatives attending pre-COP26, which is a meeting that gets held about a month before the COP. The results of that will also be brought to COP26. The presidency program for COP26 in November includes a dedicated day for young people that will demonstrate the critical role of education and training in climate action. And finally, at COP26, a new work program under the Convention and Paris Agreement on ACE is expected to be adopted, and the hope is that it will enhance governments and other stakeholders' efforts to educate and engage youth and everyone in climate policy and action. Before I close, I want to reiterate my earlier point. We need everyone to be informed, involved, and contributing to the urgent transition we need to low carbon, just, and climate resilient economies and societies. And young people need to be at the centre. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Newman, for your valuable input. We will now move on to the second session of our dialogue, which is on youth and Indigenous communities. I would like to invite Ms. Diana Mastracci, Communications Consultant, Geo-Secretariat, International Strategic Indigenous Liaison, Geo-Indigenous Alliance, and Ms. Lillian Nagaracha, founder of Women Conserve, Samburu tribe in Kenya.
So thank you so much for inviting me on this important day. It's really an honor to speak to you today about the Indigenous Hackathons and the Indigenous Youth Ambassadors Program. Next slide, please. So the Geo-Indigenous Alliance is a network of Indigenous people from around the world committed to promoting the use and access of Earth observations. Earth observations include satellite images, but as well in situ information, such as weather information, and such as wind speed and wind direction. And one of the core pathways of the Alliance is the empowerment of youth, as they are the key stakeholders in addressing the impacts of climate change. Next slide, please. So the Indigenous Hackathons emerged from consultation with the Inupiaq community in the Alaskan Arctic on how to encourage youth to participate and make a difference. The community was interested in a process that would allow their youth to co-design innovative and culturally relevant application using their own Indigenous knowledge as well as Earth observation data. But there were no guidelines on how to co-design software with and for Indigenous people. So we adapted the methods of a traditional hackathon that are competitions to develop software incorporating the needs of the community. And we co-designed a new methodology, the Indigenous Hackathons, that at the core, they're aimed to increase intergenerational knowledge transfer between the elders and the youth, as that's how the knowledge is transferred in Indigenous communities, increase cross-cultural communication between the scientists and the local community, and enhance and strengthen the local culture. Next slide, please. So how do the hackathons work? Well, they're divided into 3 phases. In the first phase, we have a pre-hack in which Indigenous youth consult with their elders to come up with challenges that are locally relevant and that could be solved using Earth observation data. Once the challenges are ready, they become part of the final hack, which can take place locally or worldwide. And throughout the process, participants are mentored by experts in remote sensing, Indigenous knowledge, technology development. After the event, we mentor the winning team to ensure that the winning solution is co-designed with and for the Indigenous communities. Next slide, please. So we had our first hack in 2014 in the North Slope of Alaska. in collaboration with Ilasali College and the Mobile Collective and Inupiaq elders. And we have continued organizing hackathons in collaboration with indigenous communities and organizations such as NASA, the European Space Agency, and GEO since then. Our last hack was called the Indigenous Hack for COVID, which we ran last year. Next slide, please. The typical audience are, besides the indigenous communities, who are the ones who developed the challenge. We try to work with artists, scientists, programmers. There is really no barrier, as well as the network of the GEO community, who are all the data providers. Next slide, please. So in the last hackathon, we worked with various indigenous leaders from around the world, from the Ecuadorian Amazon all the way to the Arctic. And these are some of the communities that we worked with: so the Shuar community in the Ecuadorian Amazon, the Samburu tribe in Kenya, the Rosebud Sioux tribe in North America, the Quilombola in Brazil, and the Quechua in the Ecuadorian Amazon. Next slide, please. We had last year 146 participants from 33 countries. Next. So what solutions are coming out of this hack? This is Meet the Symbols Map team, who won last year's competition, and they recently launched their app, which is a new way for indigenous communities to map their territory using local symbols instead of geographic coordinates. The challenge was submitted by Titus Leitapo from the Samburu tribe, who's also the co-founder of the Indigenous Alliance. And for a whole year, Titus was engaged in weekly co-design workshop with the international group of young professionals who won the hackathon. And the app was, as I mentioned, recently launched last year. Next slide. This was another app that was launched as well recently, and they were also one of the winning teams from the hack. And it's called the Visibilidade app, and it's a really super easy visualization tool that allows any community to share their story and create a story map just by using an Excel spreadsheet. And it was co-designed by a group of hackers from Kenya and Sudan, and they worked for nearly a year with the Quilombola community in Brazil. Next slide, please. And we will soon launch the Indigenous Youth Ambassadors Program. We're still finalizing it, but the core idea is to develop a pool of positive role models grounded in their cultural values, who will act as positive role models and provide them with personal academic support and inspire the next generation of Indigenous youth to utilize Earth observation data to innovate solutions for the challenges they're facing. Next slide. So please join us in our next hack. It's the Indigenous Phosphor G Hackathon, which will take place October 1st to October 2nd as part of the Phosphor G conference, which is the largest annual conference on open software and open data. And it will include challenges by and for Indigenous youth from around the world. And we really hope to see you there. And the final slide is just my contact details. Please get in touch with me if you would like to learn more or get involved. My email is on the slide, as well as my Twitter account. Thank you very much.
Now I would like to invite Ms. Lilian Nagarata to speak on the topic of youth and Indigenous communities.
Lilian, you're on mute.
Hi everyone. My name is Lilian Guracha. I'm the founder of Samburu Women Conservation, a small grassroots organization working in Kenya. Basically, we are empowering women to use the satellite data and also images to share their stories. It's very critical and very important because we are working with women and young girls who are also the younger generation with the digital and so forth. So it's a grassroots organization. Our main objective is to make sure that the women also have got their own information, have got their own stories to share, have got so many things. So it is very important that we are working with other people like Diana and also the hackathon to make sure that the women and the young girls in the grassroots are also sharing the ideas, mapping out the boundaries. We know that Samburus are a pastoralist community, and they use their knowledge, their traditional knowledge, to educate others, to tell their stories, to ensure that they also mark their boundaries. As they move from one place with the animals, they're using their own knowledge, the traditional knowledge, which is very important also to document and ensure that they also share with the world, so that the other world also can also learn what they are doing. So basically, that's what we are doing. I'm so impressed today to just share the experience with you. As we know that today is International Youth Day and Summit, because we need also to empower the young generation. They are important also to us. They can also, you see, replicate what we are doing, and also make sure that they they use the traditional language knowledge to also to educate others and also to reference in case of anything. So that is what I will say. Please make sure that you can ask me questions. I'll be on. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Diana and Ms. Lillian. That was a very insightful session. To move forward, I would like to invite Ms. Senashia Ekanayaka to take us through the Mentimeter session. Senashia, over to you.
Thanks very much, Sajani, and thank you to the speakers who were kind enough to share their insights with us. So before we actually move on to do a very quick icebreaker, so if you have joined us for our sessions previously, you're quite familiar with Mentimeter that we use. I'm just going to drop a code in the chat. So if you could please log on to menti.com and use the code 207510007. I'll also share my screen with you. So just to get an understanding of where everyone is joining us from, and I'm going to try my best at remembering the geography I learned in school. So you should be able to find a pin. I believe someone left a pin in Antarctica. I'm not sure if we have someone joining us from Antarctica. If that is, that would be very nice. But yes, you should be able to see a pin on your screen when you log on to Mentimeter and use the code 207510007. And you could also do this on your mobile, and also for those joining us on Facebook, this is also a possibility. I'm just going to quickly leave this on while I also remind you guys on the registration form that we have for the day. I have left the link on the chat previously. If you have any trouble accessing the form or you didn't get the catch the link, please let me know. I'll be happy to send it. So we have some people from Sri Lanka. That would also be myself. I'm joining from Sri Lanka as well. So for those joining us on Facebook, if you're able to, please do go on your browser and log on to www.menti.com and use the code 207510007. So you have someone joining us from Europe. I'm not going to guess where that is. So we have someone, right. Okay, so on the chat also we have those who joined us from Nigeria. Welcome. And I'm just going to maybe leave it on for another 15 seconds. That should be Sri Lanka. And I believe we have someone joining us from what I'm assuming to be around, that's probably Duncan, I'm going to assume, right? Okay, so thanks everybody for joining and also making me test my knowledge on geography. So we're just going to very quickly go on to just one more slide here, right on the same Mentimeter. So this, you could type it in, your responses. Your responses will remain completely anonymous. So what do you think is the role of youth in climate action and food systems? So you could respond to this from the perspective of being a youth yourself, or if you work with youth organizations or youth groups, what do you think their role is in when it comes to climate action and food systems? So we have building awareness. We will be discussing this a bit later as well, but probably also to get the thinking process started, be good to have this going. Right, so please log on to, so for those wondering what's happening on the screen, you could log on to menti.com and use the code 20751007. Okay, the role of youth in climate action and food systems, so leadership, building capacities of local communities, to inspire others, to learn the ground level realities and complexities of food systems. If we just wait for a few more responses, I think they are trying very hard. However, there's still so much work to be done that is correct, and which is why even small sessions like this are very important. Being innovative, combining traditional approaches and expertise in modern knowledge and sustainable development. Okay, we'll probably just wait for about 2 more responses. If anyone has anything else that they'd like to add, we can get 1 more. Contribute to research as citizen scientists. Okay, fantastic. So thank you everybody for, I think we should globally be together. Yes, and actually COVID has also presented a unique opportunity where we have been able to have all of these virtual sessions actually come together. So thank you very much once again to those who are joining us. And with that, I would like to give the screen back to Sajani to take over for the next session and to introduce our panelists as well. Thank you, Sajani.
Okay, thank you, Sanashia. That was quite interesting. Now we will be moving to the third session of the dialogue. It focuses on youth in climate action and food systems. I would like to invite Mr. Duncan Williamson, founder and director, Nourishing Food Systems.
Yes, hello, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you for having me here today. I'm very excited to give my thoughts on this. And so, yes, I'm founder and director at Nourishing Food Systems. I work with people as diverse as farmers in Nourish Scotland and leading the climate change strategy for action against hunger. So, yes, I'm sort of see climate change and food system are indelibly linked. And as has already been mentioned, I think the role of youth and the need for action is more urgent than ever with the IPCC report that came out this week, which was both very, very depressing when you read it. It also talked a lot about the role of agriculture, but it also left room for change, saying that we still have time to make change, we still have time to keep emissions within 1.5 degrees, but we need urgent action now. And I think that is really important and exciting in the sense that if anyone's going to do this and lead this, it is young people. So the next slide, please. And one of the reasons I see this is we've been warned about climate change for over 60 years. This picture of the Sahara was taken 60 years ago. Newspapers were picking up on the need for climate action in the 1970s, and we talked about the urgency then, and still not enough has been done about it. And I think it's really important to be aware that not enough has happened, but you'll be standing on the shoulders of people who have already been working on this. And it's important to remember that with climate change, people have been advocating for change for these 60 years. People have been derided, scientists have been dismissed, we have been laughed at. I myself have been working on climate change and food systems since the 1990s. And during that time, we have been mocked by the media. We have been, as I said, dismissed. I've seen scientists like spat on in the street, but that hasn't stopped people working on this. We have marched. I've been arrested for climate change. We have pushed really hard for climate action. So as we go forward, and we're seeing the urgency finally realized and the need for action finally realized. I really am grateful for young people and the power of youth, because I think they have catalyzed this action over the recent years. And it is the power of youth that is really, really going to drive the change. And I think partly that because young people now, all of you, you are bolder than we ever were. You are pushing harder. But a really important thing for you to remember is not only will youth make the change for climate change and food systems and help us move to somewhere stronger, you also have a lot of allies in the generations, your parents, grandparents generation, who want to work with you to really deliver this change. Next slide, please. And so this is just deliberately messy, but what I'm saying is we know all about climate change. We know all about food systems. We know what drives it. We know the drivers behind food systems and climate change are finance, it's consumption, it's poor governance, it's poor trade, it's siloed thinking. You don't need to worry about all of the details here, but the impacts are huge. We know about it. But the thing I'm really excited about is we know the solutions to this. We really do. And they're going to be led by people who get it. It's about empowerment. It's about gender security. It's agroecology. There's nature-based solutions. There are so many solutions there. And that's what makes me positive about this, is that we have the tools and the knowledge to make these changes, and people are starting to, and they're starting to a lot quicker than they ever were. I saw in Paris in 2015, I was there, I was trying to advocate for more work on food systems in the climate change negotiations, and it was widely dismissed by people. And now that's changed. Glasgow in 2021, we're going to see food and agriculture as part of COP. We've also got the wonderful food system summits. There's so many opportunities and things are changing quickly. The next slide, please. So, I think it's really important to recognize that you can't look at food systems and climate change in a bubble. We have to recognize that they are linked to the economies. They are linked to biodiversity collapse. I think we have to start thinking in more joined up ways. And again, my generation has been a bit rubbish at this, but I believe that that is happening, because we've got to make sure climate change solutions address biodiversity collapse, and biodiversity solutions don't lead to more climate change. And this is really important, because the next slide, please, because there are so many massive frameworks happening in the world in the next 18 months that you have to be a part of. It's not just the Food Systems Summit, it's also the Biodiversity Summit, it's also COP, but it's also the Sendai Framework on Natural Disaster Reduction. It's Nutrition for Growth in Tokyo in December. There's the Convention to Combat Desertification next year. There's also Stockholm Plus 50, which is when 50 years ago, people came together to say we have to deliver action on biodiversity and sustainable development. And it's happening again next year. And I would say very strongly that youth from all over the world have to be part of these frameworks, and you have to look at all of them, because they are all interlinked, and the right action on one can lead to the right action on the other, and which can lead to the right action on the other. They are non-siloed, they are cross-thematic areas of work, but you need to look at all of them. And over the next probably year to 18 months, there's never going to be a better chance than there is to change the direction of travel and really start delivering the solutions we need in time to hit the climate targets of 2030. The next slide, please. And I genuinely think that it's going to take a food system approach to change climate change. It is thinking about the interconnected nature of food. It's thinking how all the different players, whether they're farmers, they're women, they're children, they're adults, they're scientists, they're healthcare workers, they are all part of making this change. And if we take a food systems approach, we can also tackle climate change, because healthy food systems are going to be low carbon. They're going to deliver the changes we need. And I think it's so important to think about things systemically and recognizing that that things work together. So it's about health, it's about biodiversity, it's about climate. Next slide, please. And to emphasize this, what we know is if you think about these systemically, you recognize the linkages between food systems with climate change and ecosystems. And what we have currently is a system where they are causing harm to each other. Harmed ecosystems are causing climate change, but climate change damages ecosystems. We know the food system relies on healthy climate and healthy biodiversity, but it's also causing climate change and destroying biodiversity. So it is not able to be sustainable. So we have to switch these different systems from harming each other, from being vicious circles to being virtuous circles, because by doing that, we can genuinely produce a system that will help us in the challenges ahead. The next slide, please. So I'm just going to quickly talk about this in the global advocacy stage, because I really do think we have to think about global advocacy and local advocacy as well. And again, when you look at it, currently a lot of advocacy is still deeply siloed. I'm doing a lot of work with local governments all over the world, and often you talk to them about food systems and climate change, and you'll be given the environmental people to talk to, and then you go, oh yeah, but I want to talk to farmers in this. They have to be part of the conversation. And then straight away the people I'm talking to will then push me over to the people dealing with farmers, and I'll be talking to them about the need to work on climate change and health. And the second I mention health and nutrition, they'll go, oh, you don't want to talk to us, you want to talk to the nutrition people. And we have to, in our advocacy, in our demand for change, change this mindset, because they all need to be part of the solution. They're all interlinked, as I've said. And I think there's a great opportunity for youth as you're coming up, as you're joining local government, as you're advocating for change, as you're working in this, to change how governments are run. So there's a non-siloed way of working, because it's going to be local governments that facilitate a lot of the solutions that we need to deliver. And I think that has to happen, but we also need to think about it globally and keep pushing these global conventions and international governments to think about things in a joined up manner. And very, very, very few of them do, even though they've been told about it for many years. And there are synergies in the solutions. They are going to be more affordable and they're going to be more long-term. And I do, so we've got to start reminding people about the synergies and the win-win-wins, not about the trade-offs. Next slide, please. So one thing I'm working on, which I'm very excited, is the Glasgow Food and Climate Declaration. And this is a commitment by subnational governments all over the world, and by companies, and by international NGOs, and by farming groups, to make sure that the upcoming COP26 in Glasgow has food and has agriculture and has food systems as part of the COP. It's one of many steps on the road to delivering a sustainable food system, but it's making sure that national governments hear that they have to start taking food systems seriously as part of the climate change debate. And the reason for this is we are seeing a lot more work happening locally. We're seeing a lot more work happening at cities. We're seeing a lot more work happening at youth groups and farming groups around the need to change the food system. And it is national governments that are not picking up the baton and are deaf to this. And the Glasgow Food and Climate Declaration is trying to change this, and I'm really excited about this. So if you don't know about it, I can share you information, but just Google it, it's there. Next slide, please. And so what next? I've just come up with a few questions I don't expect you to answer now, but I think we need to start thinking about food systems, climate change in the terms of the planetary donut as being promoted by many organizations, where you're looking at the safe operating space for humanity and the safe operating space for the environment. We have to think about social and environment as one. And there are loads of questions that we need to answer. And one thing I would really plead for the people on this call and for others is a lot of people in positions where we're trying to make this change. We have only got our own experience to base the questions on we're asking. We need you to give us your questions. We need you to tell us what are your expectations, what you need from us, what are we getting wrong, what are our gaps. So And I really think it's important that we hear from you so we can learn from you and your experiences to help you in delivering the change that's needed. And yeah, and that's the offer to you. If I can help people in any way, please let me know, because I'd be privileged to do so. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Williamson. That was quite insightful and inspiring as well. As Mr. Williamson highlighted, you would need to be a part of every global framework and global agendas because they are interconnected, and food systems, climate change, and ecosystems, everything is connected to one another. So thank you very much again. Now I would like to invite Ms. Chalani Marasinghe, Co-Coordinator, Global Youth Forum on Climate Change, Assistant Manager, Research and Program at Slyke and Trust. Chalani, over to you.
Hello, good evening, everyone from Sri Lanka. So, first of all, I would like to wish you a happy International Youth Day. Today, I'm going to talk with you about youth in climate action and food systems. Under that, I will be talking about importance of youth engagement, challenges faced by youth, how can youth engage effectively in climate action, ensuring food security and enhancing resiliency in food systems. As we all know, it is really important youth to be engaged in climate action and food system. We know the youth population is increasing, and it is expected that it will be close to 1.3 billion by 2030, which is the target year for the Sustainable Development Goals. And particularly in Sri Lanka, it is a developing country, and around 23% of the total population aged between 15 and 29 years. We know youth has innovative ideas, technical knowledge, vision, creative solutions, future leaders and policymakers. They are identified as future leaders and policymakers, and they have innovative skills. They are key player in the decision-making process. So it is really important these things to be utilized in climate action and food systems as youth. Actually, there are a lot of challenges faced by youth when engaging in climate action and food systems. Among them, lack of awareness on climate impacts, limited resources, unavailability of knowledge products in local language with local context, unavailability of climate information, limited youth participation in decision-making processes, lack of access to entities and knowledge bases. Among them, climate change has become a really a major challenge for youth for their every aspect of life, like education, nutrition, like their livelihoods. All the things have been impacted from climate change impacts. So as a youth, how can we engage effectively in climate action and food systems? If we take the things that we can engage, awareness and capacity building is a really important thing. As youth, if we can share our knowledge, experiences among our peers, friends, neighbors, elders, parents, it will really impact, because it will create awareness among them. As Slyke and Trust, we have engaged in lot of rural communities in our works, and what we could see is they are really experiencing climate change impacts, and but they don't know about climate change and how it impacts to them. So it is really important as youth if we can share our knowledge with them. And ground level actions. Ground level actions means if we can go into ground level and work with them, like planting trees, engaging in cleaning activities like beach cleanups, those activities, it is really inspiring people around us as well. So other thing is conducting and contributing to researchers. We know researchers create a lot of new knowledge to the world. As youth, if we can do researchers or if we can contribute to researchers, it will create new knowledge regarding these topics like climate change or climate change impacts. So as youth, it is really important to involve in these kind of things. And inspiring leadership, if we can be a good leader to guide others to do projects or do climate action like things, it will affect positively, because the people around us get inspiration from us and they follow, like our next generation will follow us on these kind of activities. So what I have explained earlier was the local level activities that we have done, and beyond that, we are sharing our experiences and our knowledge with people in international level. So for the 5th consecutive years, Like and Trust organized the Global Youth Forum on Climate Change on December 2020. It is a global platform that youth can share their experiences, knowledge regarding climate change related topics. So here we could gain a lot of knowledge and experiences from the experts on these topics from all over the world, and we could connect with the youth all over the world related to these topics. We had 70 country participation in this Global Youth Forum on Climate Change. Initially, we collected project proposals under 4 themes of marine and coastal ecosystems, biodiversity, climate change, and disaster risk, sustainable food systems. I was a member of the sustainable food system. As you know, food systems are associated with wide range of human activities. It acts as a major source of employment and income. It concerns regarding the prevalence of food system related social justice, equity and inequality, emphasizes that need for food system sustainability. So as youth, it is really important to engage in food security and sustainable livelihood creation. In the Global Youth Forum on Climate Change, under the sustainable food system, we could develop a project based on issue that we have identified in our group. So here we could identify the issue of food waste. It was identified that around 1/3 of world's food produced for human consumption are lost or wasted, and 1/9 in people are remaining unnourished, and urban contexts are the biggest source of post-consumption for food waste. So based on these issues, we have developed a project to reduce the food waste in urban areas and promoting urban permaculture. In here, we have focused on sustainable development goals of responsible consumption and production, sustainable cities and communities, climate action, partnerships for goals. The project proposals developed under 4 phases of research, developing an online platform, engaging with stakeholders, marketing, promotion, and regulation. When it comes to the current stage, we currently we are working with external people to gain suggestions, new ideas related to these projects, and we are looking forward to implement this project with external parties. As Like and Trust, we are looking for contributing in terms of in terms of training and advisors to implement these kind of projects in different regions. So as a youth, if you would like to engage in this kind of project or implement this kind of project in your region or your country, as Like and Trust, we are happy to engage with you and give training and those kind of support. So finally, I would like to invite you all engage with us, write to us, and if you like to engage with us on these kind of projects, please do write to us. We are very happy to engage with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Chalini, for highlighting the work that we do here at Like and Trust. Now we have come to the open discussion session of the dialogue. To move forward, I would like to invite Sanashia and Ruani to take over.
Thanks very much, Sajani, and thank you to all of the speakers who joined and also shared your views. So just to let you know how this session would, okay, hi everybody. So just to let you know how this session would go, Ashan, if you could please share, thank you. So we have, so it's going to be an open discussion. So everyone's free to contribute to this session. We want to keep this as approachable, inclusive as possible. So there are a few ways you could engage with us. Just to let you know, you could type in your responses on the chat if you do not want to speak, or if you're, if you have issues with connection, or you could maybe raise your hand, and so we could have some order into the responses as well. And then we could also gather your input from there. So we have two questions that we hope to address in this session. So the first is how you are as youth, or if you're no longer youth, like some of us, how you were as youth or with the groups that you engage with, how you engage them in the context of climate action and food systems. So if you paid attention, Chalini actually gave us a lot of these in her presentation. So maybe I'm wondering if we could start off with the second question on challenges, and then sorry, Ashan, about that. I could have told you a bit earlier. So we have our second, okay, thank you very much. So what are the key needs and vulnerabilities of youth when it comes to climate change and food systems? So if you all paid attention to Chalini's fantastic presentation, she made some points on what we could do as youth, and some of the things that she mentioned were awareness and capacity building, training, ground level actions, and also having inspiring leaders. So, but we are not always able to, engage in those areas for whatever may be the reasons. So I'm just wondering, because we also have a few people from outside of Asia as well. And it's always, one thing that we found out, that it's always encouraging to know that a lot of us have the similar issues. So the solutions that we actually come up with can be used globally as well. So if you as youth, you've engaged in climate action and food systems, or if you work with youth groups who work in these particular areas, what say challenges or vulnerabilities, or what are the needs that you have identified when it comes to climate change and food systems? So once again, you could type in your responses on the chat, or you could just raise your hand and feel free to contribute. So thanks, Ronnie. So, and also please know that there is a closed discussion. It's streaming on Facebook, and if there's anyone on Facebook who would like to join, you could also contribute, but it's a small group here. So please feel free to share anything that
Yes, sorry, just to start off the discussion, I think I'll just need to add something. When we talk about the vulnerabilities that is faced by you at the moment, I think a platform and like mentorship opportunities, or like, a platform to gain knowledge is something that I think we at Cycling Trust also figured out is something that is lacking and something that is a need. So things like the Global Youth Forum that we do, and things like how we usually offer expertise from our end is something that does lack when it comes to how you can get involved. So I think that can be highlighted as a need, a key need in the sector at the moment. So we have somebody, we have Ravi, who has actually directly messaged saying that the capacity building and opportunities to practice also comes in as a key need when you talk about youth and when you talk about climate change and food systems. So just feel free to drop us a message if you are not able to unmute yourself. I'm going to give the floor to anybody else who'd like to take part in this conversation. The floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Roni and Ravi. And I think that's very relevant. The fact that, I mean, even though capacity might be built among and across youth, if the opportunity is not given, then that capacity built will also not be utilized. So thank you very much. So, I mean, if there are any such challenges, so some of the until people are ready to open up. So just some of the things that we've also realized is that when it also comes to, say, technical knowledge or even, say, funding opportunities, these have been always a problem, especially like if you are not if you don't have a particular affiliation to a larger organization, or you find it difficult to approach these organizations because you haven't worked with them, but you do a lot of ground level activities. The fact that you're able to not be able to reach out to them, whether it is through writing a proposal, to apply for funding for the work that you're doing. So this has also been one of the challenges and one of the needs that we've actually identified, especially with the proposal writing as well. Just wondered if anyone has any other insight that they'd like to share. That we do see some familiar faces here on the participant list, but we'd rather not put you on the spot right now. But if there's anyone who's joined us for your if there's anyone who would like to share with us any sort of challenges or vulnerabilities that you faced during the past few years, please do share with us, because it would really be helpful for all of us here. So I think just maybe also going back to something that Chalani also mentioned in her presentation. So she did speak on ground level action, and something that we talk a lot here at Cycling Trust is the need for multi-stakeholder engagement. So youth only becomes one stakeholder in the larger scheme of things. But when we look at, say, whether it's restoring mangroves or even like a beach cleanup, the fact that youth wanting to do that doesn't always thanks, Barney, is just only one step in that process. And Barney, just before we come into you, Ravi has also messaged me. Thank you, Ravi, for contributing. Strengthening network and appropriate advocacy among the vulnerable communities. Thanks very much. Yes, Barney, over to you.
Hi, thank you, Sanashia. Just to comment, this is, of course, when you work with youth, there are certain things, of course, I'm no longer in the youth category, but this is something that I've noticed sometimes when we work with youth, there's something that in terms of course, this is also coming under capacity building. This is just to highlight that they have to understand certain complexities of the food system and also the ground realities, which is also very important because sometimes when we voice our like ideas and everything, if we don't have the basics in place, that kind of can mislead certain or the direction that we go. So it's something that I just wanted to highlight. Thank you, Senashia.
Thanks very much, Varuni, for your input. Does anyone else have anything else that they'd like to add?
Yes, can I add something?
Yes, please, Ashan.
So as Charlene mentioned during her presentation, as at like the importance having awareness and capacity building for the youth. So our experience even at Slyke and Trust when we are working in ground level research work at Trincomalee and Anuradhapura, the youth in the area actually they were like willing to contribute to this research work and things like that. But actually the big issue is that they are unaware of how climate change has impacted their food systems, not only the food systems, the biodiversity in the area. So it is of high importance in actually making them more aware in these areas, and also not only the food systems. If you take our projects related to the mangrove restoration, as Senashia mentioned before, there are many youth groups working with us, and we are taking these opportunities like to engage them more in this restoration work as well, in a way that they get some knowledge. So we have planned in a way where they could contribute to the monitoring processes as well. So that's what, like, it should be like important in a way that they could take it from there. So that's what I want to add, Sinash.
Thanks very much, Ashan. I think this conversation of sustainability in a project or any sort of implementation activity, once a group has intervened, is always very important. I'm sorry, someone is unmuted themselves. Would you like to say something?
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, hello. This is Adiwani Adelo from Nigeria. A researcher and a postgraduate students from Obafemi Awolowo University. So I'm very happy to be part of this summit. We have a lot of problems concerning achieving, climate action and food security. Presently, I'm working on effects of extreme climatic condition on cropping activities in a local area here in Nigeria. So when I got to the field, the challenges that most of the farmers, they have, it's not that they don't know something about climate change, but how to put it and gather it together to, for world standard, they don't understand. And we now discover, after my project, I discovered that there is a disparity between government officials and the indigenous people. There is no, there is no help on ground for them. And even while I was on ground, they don't want to give me this thing here because they were like, I want to take advantage of them. But not until when I come, to their level and helping them in doing some things and explaining some things to them, how they can, mitigate against climate change. So that was when they give me this thing here. So in this case, I think we still need a lot of youth on board, to take up challenges like going to most of these developing countries of the world and, meeting with peoples, indigenous people. They have understanding of these things, they have history, but the problem they have is they don't have records. So we need to just come on board, work together, and both government officials, the literate and illiterate. So let's come together to achieve something, because achieving food security and climate action, it's not all about paperwork. We need a practical action, and all this ground-based work. Like presently now, I'm doing a voluntary clean-up action, whereby we go to communities, we clean up the dirty places. But the problem now is when you engage more of our youth here, they say, what are you going to give them? What did they stand to benefit? So that is one of the challenges we are facing, getting youth on board. So that's a little contribution from me. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much for that. Really appreciate it. And thank you very much for sharing your insight as well. We're going to very quickly now go back into the first question as well. Right. So this was something that, I mean, because as Chalini, our previous speaker from our team, she did highlight this, we actually wanted to go in to discuss some of the vulnerabilities. So this was even in the previous speaker, I'm sorry, I'm not going to pronounce your name because I don't think I'll do a very good job at it. So thank you, sir, for what your input. But we did see from what you said, when it comes to youth engaging in climate action and food systems, it's also about giving the opportunity, it's also about the training. But I'm wondering if there's anyone else, apart from anything that was already discussed, that you would like to share as any sort of successful strategy or mechanism that you have come across that would be helpful for all of us. You could type in your comments here in the chat, or you could also unmute yourself directly and speak to us as well.
I'd also like to give this opportunity to our speakers if there's anything that you would like to add on these questions. So anybody who's in the room at the moment would please feel free to unmute yourself and add any comments you may have. Yeah. I've got, yes, so an enabling environment, I believe it is Raquel, who has answered this for us. An enabling environment is something that we as youth need to, work on, and we as youth need to set for everybody else. And like, it may be a platform that we need to be accepting of all individuals who are in the category, who might be in the category of youth or who might not be in the category of youth, who want to make some change. So that environment, that accepting and enabling environment is definitely something that we need to work on. And yes, I believe Rafael has raised his hand. You're more than welcome to unmute yourself and
Thank you very much. I'm so sorry where I am. I can't use the video, but I think I will go audio. And enabling environment is a key concept. Like, we should know the theory we want to employ, and also we should also look at the aspect where we could also relate the education standard, whereby we make kind of climate education in either tertiary or maybe from the higher school level. We could also kind of implement that in the curriculum, so that everybody gets abreast or gets informed of what climate education is all about. And then also at the government level or other sectors, we could also increase our level of policy, look at the policy which we implement, and also tends to consider the country as a welfare state, or such policy becoming a welfare policy that has the populace in its mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Raquel. Thank you for that very descriptive addition to this discussion. I completely agree with what you said, and it is very important. And we at Lifeline Trust also work on, on input that we could give on in terms of policies and things like that as well. So just to move on, I believe Samadhi has made a comment on the chat. Motivate youth to take leadership and provide opportunities for their innovative ideas. And I believe Duncan, who has just had to leave this discussion due to prior engagement, mentioned a lot about this on his speech, where the innovations from youth and their ideas, that the encouragement and giving them that opportunity is something that is very important. Yes, I believe somebody else unmuted themselves. Is there anybody else who would like to add anything more? Yes, Ravi. We are not able to hear you at the moment if you are speaking, but we can see that your microphone is unmuted. Please feel free to add your comment. Okay, well, till then, if there is anybody else, please do raise your hands, or if not, you could type in your comments on the chat. This is an open discussion, so please feel free to voice your comments, and we'd love to have your opinion so that we could have a very fruitful discussion. So please feel free to let us know what you think as well. Yes, Tilini, the floor is yours.
Hi, yeah, I would like to add something to what others say. Actually, when youth and climate action and food systems are considered, actually youth can act as leaders in working in climate action and food systems, and also they have the ability to encourage others for better action. And also they have actually, I believe the youth have creative ideas and innovative ideas, and actually people like youth who learn about agricultural disciplines, they actually can engage in research fields, and maybe in terms of climate smart agriculture and everything, so they can motivate others and to work for better food systems and in terms of climate action and food systems. Yes.
Thank you, Tilini. I completely agree with what you said, and that's valuable for this discussion. Raquel, I believe your hand is raised again.
Yeah, thank you. It's just to support or to add to the last comment, the last commenter who made it clear about food security, because the policies that we have, especially in let me say underdeveloping countries, are not that more favorable, and also the system of agriculture, because when you talk about food security, agri is there, because we look at how technology, how we could shift the perception or the idea from subsistence farming into a mechanized system to have a commercial purpose. So you see in underdeveloping nations, they suffer these technological issues of machineries to aid their cultivation or to aid other processing, especially when it comes to food chain and manufacturing or production. You get, so that is another aspect where government could come in to aid or to facilitate production level, whereby they reduce manpower in terms of utilize the efficiency of machineries. You understand? So that we're looking at good health amongst the sustainable development goals. Good health is there, and when you have sustainable food consumption and you do not have good health, definitely there's no role of playing food security. So the individual psychoanalysis, the performances, and then other level of level of fitness is there. So, but if we diversify from using much for more human capacity, where we diversify into machineries, this will aid production, it will increase high level of production, and also it could help also the human lifespan. Thank you.
Thank you, Rika. Thank you for that comment. And yes, what you said is very relevant, especially in this day and age. I would just like to read one more comment from the chat from Anas. He has given us a good description of it as well. I'm just going to give the summary version of it. Because of time constraints at the moment, and we have to move on to our breakout sessions as well. So what he has said is you can fight against climate action and food systems by doing the following: take part in higher education, involving innovation and entrepreneurship, research, and policy reforms. And yes, these are some of the things that we at Cyclan Trust also do conduct, and we do get youth involved in all these aspects. So thank you, Anas, for that input from your end. And there's no more comments. I would like to move. I'd like for us to move on to our breakout sessions. I am going to hand it over to Celestia now.
Thanks very much, Roni, and thank you very much to everyone who contributed with your comments and feedback, and also to everyone who participated in the chat. So we will be going into our 2 breakout rooms now. So we have one group on policy and decision-making processes, as well as one on youth-led innovation. To those who are joining us on Facebook, we will unfortunately be stopping our breakout rooms, because we'll be stopping the stream rather, as the breakout rooms won't be streamed. So thank you for all those who joined us there and engaged with us. The breakout rooms will run for a period of about 30 minutes. And we do have some team members assigned to both of the groups as well. And we will come back here for a quick report before we close. You should see a pop-up box on your screen, and please do select join breakout room, and you will automatically be redirected to the group that you've been assigned to. So thank you very much, and hope your breakout room sessions are successful, and see you back here in 30 minutes.